Bootstrap 5 is a popular front-end framework that allows developers to create responsive and mobile-first websites with ease. In this project, I have used Bootstrap 5 to design a portfolio website that showcases my skills in web designing. The website features a video header, a navigation bar, and a section for displaying my projects. The website is fully responsive and can be viewed on any device. Let's begin the project by creating a folder. Name any Now, open VS Code and create all the required files and folders. For our project, we must connect Bootstrap. So, open any browser and type Bootstrap into the search bar or just go straight to getbootstrap.com. There are two ways to incorporate the Bootstrap compiler. The first is via CDN, where you must copy the provided link and paste it into your HTML file. For online work. Alternatively, click the Docs tab, choose Download, and then click the Download button to download the file. Go to Download folder and extract all download file. Open the extracted folder, then navigate to the CSS folder and copy the bootstrap.min.css file to the project CSS folder. And then add bootstrap.bundle.js to the project.js folder. Now, to the VS Code, in the index.html file, there will be an HTML boilerplate. Also, link both CSS files. Change the title from Document to Portfolio. Connect the JS file into the script tag as well. Let's begin with header element. Within the header tag, generates a web page's top navigation bar. Class nav identifies the element as a Bootstrap navigation bar. Navbar expand assign. This class indicates that the navigation bar should expand to fill the width of the screen when the screen size is small. BG dark 50 applies a dark background color to the navigation bar. Navbar dark applies light colored text to the navigation bar. Fixed top positions the navigation bar at the top of the viewport and fixes it in place when the user scrolls down the page. Container fluid class applies a responsive layout to the container element, ensuring that it adjusts its width to the size of the screen. This tag defines a link element that displays a logo image. Where navbar brand class identifies the link element as the navigation bar's brand. This attribute specifies the hyperlink destination, which is the homepage of the website. img tag embeds an image file, which serves as the logo. For photos and logo, create a new folder in the project that contains any necessary photos, videos, and logos. Specifies the image source. Sets the logo width to 100 pixels. The class overlay. The overlay is likely a transparent or semi-transparent element that is positioned over the video background to create a subtle layering effect. inserts a video element into the page. The video will loop automatically and indefinitely. The source property identifies the video file, which is called pixels.mp4 and has the file type video mp4. This block of code defines the header section of the page, which is positioned over the video background. It consists of a container element with the class container that spans the full height of the viewport. Inside the container, there's a flexbox container with the class dflex that also spans the full height and aligns its children vertically and horizontally centered. The flexbox container holds a div element with the class w100 and the text color set to white. This div element contains the heading and paragraph text. Start applying CSS to align and style items. Begin by inserting a font into CSS using Google Fonts. I went with Poppins. Set body, font family, and background color. This CSS code defines the styling for the header element of a web page. Position, relative, makes the header element position itself relative to its normal position in the layout. Sets the background color of the header to black. Sets the height of the header to 80% of the viewport height, VH. Minimum height of 25 rem, rem stands for root m, for the header. This ensures that the header will never be smaller than 25 rem, even on smaller screens. Width of the header to 100%. Overflow hidden. This property prevents any content inside the header from overflowing the header boundaries. This CSS code defines the styling for the video element inside the header. Position absolute makes the video element position itself absolutely within its parent container. Top 50%, left 50%, center the video element horizontally and vertically within the header. The min width 100% ensures that the video's width is always at least as wide as the header, and min height 100% ensures that the video's height is always at least as tall as the header. Width auto allows the video's width to automatically adjust based on the video's aspect ratio, and the header's width, and height auto allows the video's height to automatically adjust based on the video's aspect ratio and the header's height. Video elements stacking order to 0, placing it behind other elements in the header that may have higher z-index values. Transform, translate x, minus 50%, translate y, minus 50%, property ensures that the video element's center point aligns with the header's center point, creating a centered and responsive video background for the header section. Header class container element that is a descendant of the header element. Position, relative. This property specifies that other elements can be positioned relative to the class container, such as the header's content or a navigation bar. Z-index 2. This is important because the video element in the header has a z-index value of 0, so the class container will appear in front of the video. Let us give the text and heading elements some style and alignment. The overlay part is a descendant of the header element. Position absolute. This property makes the overlay element position itself absolutely within its parent container, which is the header. Top 0, left 0. These properties position the overlay element at the top left corner of its parent container. Height 100%, width 100%. These properties make the overlay element fill the entire width and height of its parent container. Color of the element to a dark gray color. Opacity of the element to 0.7, which means that it is semi-transparent. Z-index 1. This means that the overlay will appear in front of the video element, which has a z-index of 0, but behind the container element, which has a z-index of 2. Let us make our header text bolder to make it more apparent. This code defines a section element with the class my3 to generate a 3-unit gap above and below the section. To construct a responsive layout, there is a container element with the class container and a row element with the class row within the section. The row element contains a column element with the class kernel MD8 that occupies 8 columns on medium-sized devices MD and adjusts automatically for bigger and smaller displays. The headline and paragraph text for the introduction section are held in the column element. Now that we've finished our header section, let's move on to the About Us part. Creates a container for the content of the About Us and our courses sections. It also includes images for the courses section and a Read More button for the About Us section. Container. The element creates a container for the entire content, aligning it horizontally to the center of the viewport. Heading for the About Us section. Creates a row element to structure the content in a 2-column layout. A. Prompt infotech. This adds an image for prompt infotech. B. Paragraphs. These paragraphs contain the description of prompt infotech and its location. C. Read More. This creates a button with the label Read More that links to a specific page. Creates a heading for the Our Courses section. creates a row element to structure the course images in a grid layout. Tags wrap the course images to make them clickable. IMG tags display the course images. Copy the picture part 3 times and modify the images. A button with the label Explore More is added to encourage users to explore more courses. The HCF Bootstrap 5 component is a responsive and visually appealing component for displaying blog posts or articles on a website. The Bootstrap 5 framework is used to build a clean and modern look. A section with a light background color using the BGLight class and sets top and bottom padding using the PY5 and PY6 classes. This section contains a container element with the overflow hidden class to prevent any content from overflowing the container boundaries. Inside the container, there's a row element with the GY5 class to add gutter spacing between its child elements. The row contains a single column element with the kernel 12 class, indicating that it should span the full width of the viewport. This column element holds another row element with the Align Items Center class to align its child elements vertically at the center. It also has the GY3 and GYMD0 classes to add gutter spacing between its child elements on all devices except medium-sized screens, MD, where the spacing is removed. The inner row has two column elements with the kernel XS12 and kernel MD6 classes. The first column spans the full width on extra small screens, XS, and takes up 6 columns on medium-sized screens, MD. This column contains the following elements: adds a heading for the projects and explanation video section, creates a wrapper element for the project image. The position relative class allows absolute positioning of child elements, and the HCF transform class applies some CSS transformations for styling purposes. Creates a link that, when clicked, takes the user to a specific page. A badge label with the text projects positioned at the top left corner of the image. Displays the project image with various styling classes, makes the image responsive and fluid, adds rounded corners, sets the image width to 100%, applies a CSS transform to cover the container, positions the image content at the center, sets the image height to 250 pixels, sets the image height to 400 pixels on medium-sized screens, MD, loading is equal to lazy, defers loading the image until it's visible in the viewport. The second column in the inner row contains the following elements: adds a paragraph displaying the date with a secondary text color. Adds a heading for the project title, linked to a specific page. The link dark and text decoration and classes remove the default blue underline and link styling. Adds a paragraph with a secondary text color containing some placeholder text. Adds a button with the label "Watch Now" that links to a YouTube video. The classes apply a primary button style. It's not operating correctly. Let me look into it. It's all right now. Continue with the copy portion and repeat it numerous times. In the img wrapper class, add the flexrow reverse properties. And remove heading. Change the name and picture of the badge. Creates a login form with a responsive layout using Bootstrap. The layout divides the content into two columns, image and login form. The first column displays an image with the alt text login page image and sets a width of 100%. Adds an image to the left column using the specified image source, alternative text, and setting the width to 100% of the column width. This element defines the right column, occupying the remaining 6 columns on medium-sized devices. Adds a heading with the text "Sign in" to the right column, applying a bottom margin of 3 units. Creates a form to capture user login credentials. This element defines a group for each form input field. Adds an email input field with the name email and applies the Bootstrap class form control for styling. Pattern is repeated for the password input field, including a label and an input field with the type password and the name password. The next form group includes a checkbox with the name checkbox, an ID of checkbox, and a label for the checkbox with the text "Remember me." The last element in the form is a submit button with the text "Login" and applies the custom class BTN class for styling. Styling for the .signInText class. It sets the font style to normal and the font weight to 600. This ensures that the heading text has a bold appearance. The styling for the form control class, which typically applies to input fields in Bootstrap forms. It sets the following styles, makes the input field block level, filling the entire width of its container. Sets the width of the input field to 100% of its parent container. Sets the font size of the input field to 1 rem, roughly equal to 16 px. Sets the font weight of the input field to 400, which is the default font weight for normal text. Sets the line height of the input field to 1.5 times the font size, ensuring adequate spacing between lines of text. Sets the border color of the input field, the border style of the input field to solid. The border width to 0 on the top and right sides and 1 px on the bottom and left sides. To override any previous styles with the important keyword. Removes any default padding from the input field. The text color of the input field is a dark gray. The height of the input field to auto. Removed any default border radius. Background color of the input field to white. Ensures that the background color fills the entire input. Also, customize the button with a color border and text. Overriding any previous styles with that important keyword. Can give hover effect to the button. Apply some impact to HCF components now. A 3D scale transformation to the element, keeping its width, height, and depth unchanged. ensures that the element's descendants are also rendered in 3D space, allowing for depth effects and perspective. Applies a smooth transition to all CSS properties when the element's state changes, in this case, on hover. It applies a slight 3D scale transformation, enlarging the element by 2% in all dimensions, creating a subtle hover effect. The transition property defined in the default styling ensures that this transformation animates smoothly.
I hope this video has been informative and helpful. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos on computer hardware and other tech topics.